Senator Asuquo Ekpenyoug is the youngest member in Nigeria's parliament at age 39. He represents Cross River South Senatorial District with a focus on dynamic leadership and grassroots development. Born September 25, 1985 in Odukpani, Cross River State, he has seamlessly transitioned from a career in economics and finance to a transformative political role. As Commissioner for Finance in Cross River State, he strengthened fiscal transparency and revenue generation. As Commissioner for Transport and Marine Services, he modernized infrastructure and maritime operations. Since his election to the Senate in 2023, Senator Ekpenyoug has prioritized community-focused initiatives such as scholarships, free medical services, rural electrification, road rehabilitation, and water facility projects. His commitment to youth empowerment includes vocational training, startup grants, and mentorship programs to combat unemployment. Senator Ekpenyoug is known for accessibility, particularly to his constituents. He is married to Netanella Duke Ekpenyoug, daughter of former Governor Donald Duke. He continues to champion sustainable development while navigating the complexities of Nigerian politics. As a symbol of effective youth-driven governance, Senator Ekpenyoug's work inspires a new generation of leaders focused on competence and service, reflecting his vision for a brighter, more inclusive future for Nigeria.
Today, I have with me the Chairman Senate Committee on NDDC, he's Senator Asuquo Ekpenyoug, and we will be talking about issues that affect the Niger Delta as well as other issues affecting Nigeria as a whole. Distinguished, it's nice to have you on the program.
Thank you very much, Maria.
Okay, so like I mentioned, you are the Chairman NDDC. I would just want us to go straight to the issues there. For quite some time now, the issue of sabotaging pipelines and also siphoning oil and all of that has been on in the Niger Delta. As Chairman NDDC for the past, say, 19 months or thereabouts, what have you done as a committee to check some of these issues?
Thank you very much, Miriam. First of all, it's not been 19 months. It's about 15 months or thereabouts. Yeah. So, but let me start by saying the Niger Delta Development Commission is committed to working with the federal government, of course, and the 9 states of the Niger Delta region to ensure that issues of pipeline vandalism, oil theft are nipped in the bud. But the 10th Assembly, especially under the leadership of distinguished Senator Godswill Obodo-Akpabio, is very committed because the Niger Delta region and its oil production is one of the most significant contributors to the revenue of the Federation. Under this 10th Assembly, an ad hoc committee was set up to investigate and deal with the issues of pipeline vandalism and theft. The committee had done a lot of work. It was chaired by our late brother, distinguished Senator Ekpenyoug Ubah. They had traveled around the Niger Delta region. They had done a considerable amount of work. Unfortunately, we lost our brother, Senator Ekpenyoug Ubah, sometime last year, and the committee is being rejigged with, and I think when the committee leadership is established soon, that report will be finalized and submitted. On the part of the commission, that's the Niger Delta Development Commission, I know that they are working with the various stakeholders to sensitize the community as to the dangers of pipeline vandalism. They're also working with the security agencies to enable them to deter people from committing this crime. In the area of environment, is also supporting various stakeholders in cleanup efforts. So it's an all-round thing from remediation to prevention to deterrence and arrest. The commission is committed and doing a lot of work in those areas.
Now that you've mentioned NDDC, that will bring me to the next point. I remember last year during the 2024 budget defense, the MD then talked about plans to borrow about 1.9 trillion naira. And one of the things he mentioned is it will be used for job creation for youth and women, and also for security. Now, from that time till now, have you been able as a committee to find out if that had really taken place?
Well, so to start with, the 1 trillion wasn't specific to job creation per se. Those were just one of, I would say, a minor aspect of it. Most of it was for infrastructure, major cornerstone infrastructure for the 9 states of the Niger Delta region, mostly legacy infrastructure connecting the region by road, connecting the region through the waterways, through maritime. But as far as we are aware, the commission is yet to draw down or in terms of achieve its borrowing plan of the 1 trillion. However, that has not delayed the commission from carrying out its mandate in the area of job creation. So last year, and as I speak, I know that they are rounding up or tidying up the program. The NDDC announced and flagged off the 10,000 youth internship scheme, where it looked to, I would say recruit, but ask for registrations of young and able men and women from the Niger Delta region below a certain age to apply for its internship program. And it was going to start this program where it was going to enable them with skills acquisition, train them, and enable them or assist them to get jobs in their various spheres of endeavor. And over a period of 12 months, up until they get these jobs, it was going to be paying these 10,000 young men and women a small allowance of 50,000 naira a month for 12 calendar months. That's a program it announced last year. There was heavy subscription or application from young men and women from the region, and I know that as at this January of 2025, they were rounding up that process, and I believe that that program is going to kickstart early February.
Okay, so you're also a member of National Security and Intelligence Committee, and we all know that since return to democracy in 1999, the country has been bedeviled with a lot of security challenges, from Boko Haram, to insurgency and all of that. As a member of that committee, it is one issue that it appears it is refusing to go or is insurmountable. What can you tell us so far as a committee? Have you had interactions with heads of security agencies? What can you tell us as?
Okay, absolutely. So national security and intelligence deals more with, I would like to say, the intelligence part of security. So that committee oversights agencies such as the Department of State Security, and what they are known for, what their specific role is in enforcement and security is gathering intelligence, analyzing intelligence, and deploying it to the various security agencies, as well as sometimes carrying out those enforcement. They've been doing a lot of work. While I can say that we are not out of the woods yet, but there's a considerable amount of progress. On a daily basis, we keep hearing reports of this group of bandits have been identified, and brought into custody, or this group of people planning some sort of mayhem or the other. On the part of the unrest in parts of the north, it has, I think, been reduced to a certain amount of level. No, it has not been completely exterminated, but that is a work in progress. What we do as a committee is to oversight them, find out their requirements, such that during the budgeting process or appropriation process, such as it is currently, we try and ensure that they are provided with the resources they need, so that they have the peoples, the tools, and the skill sets that are required to keep this country safe. So that is what that committee focuses on.
Okay, so in the last a couple of weeks, the Senate and the House of Reps as well, you have been engaging ministries, departments, and agencies in budget defense. So far, from your interactions with these MDAs, has there been any pattern, or has there been any issue that you are concerned about during this budget defense?
Well, this budget defense has been an opportunity for us to review the accounts, the stewardship of various executives, the heads of ministries, departments, and agencies. And what we find is that a lot of heads of MDAs are willing and able to carry out their mandate, to implement their plans, but they are a bit limited by the resources available. So one thing that's been a recurring decimal during the course of this budget defense is stakeholders or heads of MDAs, maybe, for lack of a better word, lamenting that the budget is not up to what they require to successfully execute their mandate. And in cases like that, we try and ensure that work can be done during the budgeting process to ensure that even though we don't meet them exactly at their demand, we try and ensure that for cases that are true and important, that some adjustments may be made. So the budgeting process is a very intricate process. It's you're trying to satisfy unlimited wants with very limited resources. So what you try and do is ensure that the priority areas get the most attention. Of course, security. Everyone knows that there can be no development or peace without security. And one thing about security is that it's almost, I sometimes say it's almost like oxygen. You can't see security. What you see is insecurity. So when you see security and the investments that are required for security, they are not always that tangible, but insecurity is a bane. So one thing is for sure is that security is a priority when it comes to the appropriation process, and of course infrastructure, healthcare, education. Those were the main pillars that Mr. President focused on even during his budget presentation speech last year. So we try and ensure that those sectors and those areas have what they require and what they need to serve the Nigerian people.
I also noticed that during the most of the budget defense, when MDAs come, your colleagues most times expressed dissatisfaction with the, is it lack of preparedness by some of these NDAs, and sometimes their inability to defend the budgets of the previous year. What would you say could be the reason? Is it, like I said, lack of preparedness or unseriousness on the part of these MDs?
Well, I'll be honest with you. I haven't been, we are only in a handful of committees. You can't be in all. So I haven't been a witness to a scenario that you have just painted. I haven't seen. But if that were the case, I would say it has to do with the seriousness in which this 10th Assembly is taking this responsibility, this oversight responsibility, this budgeting responsibility. It's taking it very seriously. So when MDAs appear before us, we dive down into the finer details. We want as much information as possible. we dive into those details and try and ensure that we are ensuring that the Nigerian people get value for every 1 naira that has been allocated to any agency. So maybe I would say maybe some of the people that are appearing before those MDAs don't have the necessary experience or haven't dealt with us, or maybe it's a carryover from a tradition they had expected where maybe things would go easy on them. But this 10th Assembly, under the leadership of His Excellency, distinguished Senator Godswill Akpabio, is primed and very serious when it comes to the budgeting process to ensure that we speak and represent the people that elected us.
Now, you've talked about how serious the 10th Assembly is, and also how that you're serious about your work and you want things to be done well. What about the place of oversight? We have not seen that, lately. We have not seen much of oversight from your side on the executive.
Oh wow! I would say maybe you haven't been privileged to accompany some of the committees out. Okay, so that's a different that's a different I would say accusation entirely. But to say we don't go out on oversight, oh my God!
Most times we don't see.
No. So that's what I was going to say. Yeah. To say you may say you don't get invited, but we do. All the committees are actively working. They are all around this country, from Lagos to Port Harcourt to Calabar to Kano to Jigawa. They are moving around when it comes to oversight. If it's the Works Committee, they are always on the field. They've gone everywhere from the Lagos Calabar Coastal Road to the various federal projects going on. The Marine Transport Committee, been to Port Harcourt, been to Lagos. I can't count the number of oversight trips I've been on, just me alone. So I can assure you that there's been a lot of work under the oversight pillar of our responsibility. But what I would say is I would look into this and speak to some of my colleagues. Maybe the press hasn't always been invited. Exactly, because what I would say, the press is there, but usually it's always the press at the location or at the destination. So what you may be suggesting is that press from the National Assembly chapel or pool should be carried along during those oversight visits. I think that makes sense, because there will be consistency of report and gathering of information, as opposed to when it's only at the destination or at the state where the oversight happens, the press are involved. I see your point.
Yeah, I asked that against this backdrop. I have been here for close to a decade. So 2 decades.
2 decades?
Yeah, close.
You don't look it. Congratulations.
Okay, so I asked that question because before now we've had situations where various committees pick press people from here, because this is our beat and we will be able to represent well, than taking people from just outside to cover it. They wouldn't give it the needed coverage that is desired. So that was just why.
No, I agree with you. If we don't have the press from our pool following us, and it's not measured. And what isn't measured isn't tracked. What isn't tracked can be improved on. So you're absolutely right. You have a point there, and it's something we'll take up.
All right, so was it last week I saw you in Lagos? On the lighter note, I saw you in Lagos, and this the award. Okay, so as the youngest senator, I would like you to speak to the youth, because you have achieved this feat at this age. There are a lot of people who at the same age are maybe unemployed, or maybe just at home, no school and all that. What would you say to motivate the youth to know that time actually waits for no one?
First of all, I'd like to correct that impression. I don't think I'm a youth. I'm a young person. But there are various definitions of youth. Some people define youth as 16 to 25. I definitely am not in that age bracket. No. But I'm a young person, and I say this frequently. I always feel as though I have two constituencies. One is my geographical constituency, the place I represent, which is Cross River South. But then there's also another constituency, which is the youth demographic. I feel as though I represent them. I feel as though I am a voice for them. It's not just responsibilities and obligation I put on myself. So for young people, I always say this anyway. People have different routes to success. I say if I am anything, it is as a result of the education I had. So I always say to people, as much as you can, educate yourself, learn. Don't just learn, but learn to learn. When I say learn to learn, have that desire and that burning passion to always learn and acquire information. Beyond that, there's no shortcut to this thing. It's hard work. It really is. When I was given the candidacy and given the ticket to run on I was written off. I was told it wasn't possible, not just because of my party at the time in my geographic location, but because of my age. I was running against someone who had first come to the House of Reps when I was in primary school. And the other guy I was running with had been running for office for over 20 years and holding different offices. So everyone they looked at me as an upstart, and they told me I didn't have a chance. The truth is, the money wasn't on me. But what I did was, I said, if I could get people to hear me speak, if I could engage with people, I know that I could convince them. And traditionally, how politics works is you get stakeholders, you talk to them, you go out and let them be your voice and to speak for you, to be your advocates. But I did the reverse. I went everywhere, anywhere and everywhere. I mean, there were places I couldn't get to because our terrain is tough. I had to get on a boat. There were places I couldn't get to. I had to get on bikes. But I made sure I went everywhere, to every single community in my senatorial district, and I spoke to them. And when they heard me speak, they believed in me and they gave me the chance. And I gave them a promise. I said that if you give me this opportunity and you vote me, I will spend the next 4 years earning your vote. I didn't say I was going to spend those 4 years. I said I will earn their votes over those 4 years. And I'll leave you to go back and do your due diligence and find out whether I've been doing well.
I was going to ask you, after like a year, have you gone back to fill their
No, I always do. On my first anniversary, I did a town hall.
I am here presenting myself after our first year in office so that you may judge, because you sent me on an assignment and I shouldn't have to wait for the end of that assignment to come back and engage with you. But I'm not here to just talk today. That's why I said I will speak briefly. Most importantly, I have my papers here, I have my pen. I want to hear from the different wards of Calabar South, the 12 wards. Let us know your needs so that we can sit down and chart a course for the next 365 days of our representation of the good people of Calabar South.
I felt their pulse, and I don't think it's a sign of arrogance for you to give kudos to yourself. So like I said, I'll let you do the due diligence and find out what my constituents think about me.
Okay, so as a way of rounding off, I've also read that you are a financial analyst as well. Okay, and well, from last week, the dollar against Naira, it's been looking good. We're hoping that continues. But talking about Nigeria's financial state as an analyst, what would you say are the predictions for 2025? We just started, we're in February, we still have about 10 months to go.
Well, over the last couple of weeks, the Naira has been rallying against the US dollar. That's a good sign. But I'll tell you the truth, there's no substitute. So there's no shortcut to this thing. Once again, it's hard work. We just need to produce. We need to produce what we eat. We need to produce what we wear. We need to produce the things that we consume on a daily basis. It is only when we are producing enough and we are producing and consuming sustainably what we produce that you can find the Naira getting strong. There is no other way around it. It all has to do with our balance of payments. If we are importing more than we are exporting, then definitely we are going to be providing more Naira to acquire more dollars, and that's definitely going to put downward pressure on the value of the Naira. So we have to rev up production, local production. What would I say? Importantly, regarding the year, I think that this administration under President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, you start seeing those signs of that recovery from the hard effects or the hard policies that were taken early on in the administration. You can see that the foreign reserves has moved up from almost a negative inheritance to a surplus. We are seeing a better balance of payment records on our system, and I think that we are not out of the woods, but we are beginning to see signs of the light at the end of the tunnel. We continue on this, and we keep getting better in terms of our local production and importing less. I think that the Naira will strengthen.
Well, I must thank you very much for giving us part of your time to allow us to speak to you today and also come on the program. We really appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
So I have been speaking with the senator representing Cross River South, and he is Senator Asuquo Ekpenyoug. And like you heard, he has talked so much about, producing as a nation. If we must move forward, we must begin to produce what we eat. I'll leave you with that. I think that is a takeaway from this program. The fact that if we must move out of the woods, we have to start producing what we consume. So that's it. Thank you so much for watching. Stay tuned for the rest of the program.